So, you have a tent and a rig, and you love overlanding. You have plans to do it big, on the trails and some super glamping? Want ideas, tips, news, and reviews? A podcast that's first rate and here just for you? You don't have to think about it. Join us and be about it. Something interesting? We want to hear about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Welcome to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints podcast.
Sponsored by MIDLAND Communication for Every Adventure, the industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years. Sponsored by MYMEDIC. Sponsored by TEMBO TUSK. Sponsored by Trail Rated Coffee Company.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hi, my name is Phil from Waypoint Overland, and you're listening to Random Waypoints. All right, so here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Random Waypoints podcast. We'll be taking a brief hiatus for the next 2 weeks. I'll be in Utah and then on to Overland Expo West, where I'll be giving you complete coverage of the event. So, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss an episode. This week on Random Lists, I give 10 ways to stay fit on your overland travels. And on Waypoints, we discuss the pros and the cons of traveling solo. So stay tuned for the whole show. But first, let's take a look at the news.
During this segment, we'll cover various topics with a connection to overlanding in some way. It could be land use news regarding the national parks or the Bureau of Land Management. We'll keep you up to date on any auto industry news when it pertains to relevant and potential overlanding vehicles. There will be camping and outdoor industry news, as well as photography and video, fishing, hiking, and on and on. Now, here's the news.
F-150 Lightning, the only full-size electric pickup available now, with a starting price less than $40,000, began shipping to customers starting with the Pro Series. To mark the milestone, Ford Chief Financial Officer John Lawler, members of the F-150 Lightning team, the UAW, and other Ford leaders and partners served as honorary ringers to the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange on April 28th. Let's take a look at what customers experienced with the electric Ford F-150 Lightning.
Hey, good morning. Hi there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's insane. Oh yeah. What a freaking train! It's like I can't even do it. I can't even kick the accelerator down. It is insane. All right, you ready? Oh, I love the sound! So awesome.
E-commerce giant Amazon joined Detroit-based automaker Ford in reporting significant losses from an investment in electric vehicle startup Rivian, as the company's stocks tanked from an all-time high it reached around its IPO. Amazon reported during its earnings call last week that it lost $7.6 billion on its Rivian investment. Shares of Rivian reached prices as high as $179.47 per share, but have fallen over 75% since then. Currently trading at around $31.77, Rivian's losses come as the automaker struggles to ramp up its vehicles during supply chain shortages. Rivian has done a tremendous job of remaining resilient through an extremely difficult time. The company is dealing with a growing order bank due to the high demand for EVs, but chip and part shortages have plagued the automaker, making for a very tumultuous ramp-up process of its first few vehicle models. Rivian expects to be hindered by shortages and other bottlenecks for some time. Rivian said in its shareholders deck, in the immediate term, we are not immune to the supply chain issues that have challenged the entire industry. Those issues, which we believe will continue through at least 2022, have added a layer of complexity to our production ramp-up. Separately, in a 10-K filing from the late March, Rivian told investors it expects to incur continuing losses for the foreseeable future. If you love looking up at the moon, you're in for a stellar treat this May. On May 15, 2022, starting at 8:32 p.m. Central Time, the flower moon will begin to pass into the Earth's shadow and a total lunar eclipse will occur. The eclipse will be a dark one, with the northern tip of the moon passing through the center of the Earth's shadow. This is the first central eclipse of the Saros Series 131. The eclipse will be completely visible over most of North and South America. It will be seen rising over northwest North America and the Pacific Ocean and setting over Africa and Europe. The moment when the moon passes closest to the center of Earth's shadow cone will occur at 11:12 p.m. Central Time. Eclipse totality will be 84 minutes, 53 seconds, so plan accordingly. The Colorado River is a marvel. It meanders through 7 U.S. states and 2 Mexican states for 1,450 miles, all while supporting human life as well as wildlife, too. It creates incredible vistas through its dramatically changing landscapes, from the snowy Rockies across the Colorado Plateau and through the Sonoran and Mojave deserts. Unfortunately, all that important flow is at risk. The conservation group, American Rivers, named it the most endangered river in the U.S. in its recently released annual report as reported by Colorado Public Radio. Climate change has affected the river during the last 20 years of drought, which is depleting it and the important reservoirs of Lake Powell and Lake Mead. In second place this year is the Snake River, which flows through Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, followed by the Mobile River in Alabama, Maine's Atlantic Salmon Rivers, and the Coosa River, which streams through Alabama and Georgia. The full report names 10 at-risk rivers. Now it's time for Random Lists.
Random Lists is all about lists Waypoint Overland has created on an array of topics, such as top 5 national parks, top 10 trails in the United States, top 10 fill in the blank. I think you get it. Some lists will be pure fun, and others very informational. But they all will have a connection to overlanding in some way. We're very interested in hearing your suggestions for upcoming lists in the comments. Now, here's our random list.
This week on Random List, I give 10 ways to stay fit on your overland trips. Sitting behind the wheel for hours can take a toll on your body. But with a few healthy habits, you can be active even on the road and stay fit no matter how long you sit. Here are 10 tips to stay fit on your overland trips. First, I have planned driving breaks. Simple. Set a regular interval like every 3 hours where you'll pull over and get on your feet for a bit. 5 minutes of activity, it'll keep you alert and it'll keep you limber too. At number 2, I have bring resistance bands and suspension trainers. Now, dumbbells, they're cumbersome. Bands and trainers, they're light and compact, and they can be attached directly to your rig. Number 3, I have go for morning runs. Get your workout in before you hit the road and take in some of the final views of the location where you camped the night before. At number 4, I have go swimming in these lakes and rivers that you travel to. This low-impact exercise will get your heart pumping and it'll leave you feeling clean and refreshed. At number 5, I have hiking. The the world's your gym when you're at Overlander. So take a hike and enjoy the scenic views that you're being rewarded by traveling on. At number 6, I have stop by drop-in gyms. This is becoming very popular. Most community centers have big parking lots, and they might even let you park overnight if needed. You can also get a membership at a national gym and have a go-to club to go to wherever you're at. That's getting very popular these days. Number 7, I have workout videos. Now, if you have a laptop or a tablet, or maybe you have a vehicle with a TV, workout videos are like having a personal trainer on the road with you. You just download some videos in advance or stream them when you have Wi-Fi. At number 8, I have eating healthy. Staying fit isn't just about moving. Your diet plays a major role. So my advice is to cook something healthy on your next road trip. Start your day with breakfast every day and choose nutritious meals with more protein and fiber and less fat and sugar and calories. Take multivitamin supplements to make sure you have sufficient levels of nutrients. Taking a daily multivitamin supplement is a good idea, especially when you don't have easy access to a variety of fresh vegetables and fruits. Many micronutrients are vital to your immune system, so this is a good thing to do. At number 9, I have get enough good sleep. There's a very strong connection between sleep quality and quantity and your immune system. You can keep your immune system functioning properly by getting 7 to 8 hours of good sleep each night. Number 10, I have drinking water. This is a big, important, easy one to do. Keep a big water bottle on hand and drink from it throughout the day. Now, it might increase your bathroom stops, but here's the advantage to that. It helps you with tip number 1, which is to take regular interval breaks when you're driving, right? Well, that's my list. Do you agree or disagree? Do you have your own list? Well, share in the comments. Now it's time for Waypoints.
Waypoints. Waypoints will cover all aspects of navigation for the overland traveler. Navigation is the act or practicing of navigating, the method of determining position, course, and distance traveled.
This week on Waypoints, I give my take on the pros and the cons of traveling solo. Disclaimer, it's always safer and highly recommended that you travel with someone for your own safety. And if you do decide to travel solo, please let someone know your itinerary and exactly where you are. Me, with my Garmin satellite communicator, I send updates to my family automatically every few minutes, and they can find me on a map. Traveling solo comes with a world of benefits, but it also presents a unique set of challenges that travelers are not aware of until they're already exploring the world on their own. With that said, deciding whether to travel solo or with another person is an essential question to ask and a decision not to be taken lightly. Let's go over some of the pros and the cons. The first is freedom. The pro to freedom is to travel when and where you want. Your trip is your trip. You don't have to follow anyone's rules. And what better way to find yourself than to immerse yourself in new cultures and experiences and make them all your own? Many solo travelers got their start because they weren't able to find flight deals at the right time, and there's nothing worse than watching prices increase while you're waiting on your friend to commit to traveling with you. Solo travelers can design their travel schedules to fit their jobs and lifestyles, and traveling solo means you'll never have to compromise on where to go and what you'll do once you're there. Once your initial fears and self-consciousness has been passed, realizing how empowering solo traveling can be is an exciting reason to go it alone. A trip plagued with uncertainty when you first arrive at your destination, it can be a huge confidence booster once you've completed your journey. Now, a con is you have to be extra cautious. It's common for first-time solo travelers to feel a bit hesitant about globetrotting alone. Tourists are always a bit vulnerable when visiting a new area, but solo travelers have to be careful since traveling alone leaves you a bit more vulnerable than when you are with people you know and people you trust. So use your smarts when you're exploring new areas on your own and always trust your instincts. If being alone keeps you from fully exploring your destination, you may be better off with a partner. Another thing to consider is budget. And the pro to going solo is you're in complete control of how you spend your money. If you prefer to skimp on accommodations and splurge on meals and experiences, if you're more interested in camping while abroad than taking guided tours, when it's just you, you can decide on what you want to invest in, and you don't have to worry about a travel companion not valuing what you value. Now, the con is it can get expensive. When you're on your own for travel accommodations, when you're on your own, accommodations, transportation, excursions, and meals, the price to travel solo adds up really quickly. Next, I have is connecting. This is a big deal. The pros to traveling solo is you'll likely be more open to meeting more people. Solo travelers, being a solo traveler, it opens doors to meeting people you normally wouldn't have noticed and visited places that you wouldn't have gone to. And when you're with people you know, there's less urgency to meet new people during your time exploring in a new destination. When you're on your own, you'll quickly come to realize that you aren't the only one-man show, and there's other opportunities to mix and mingle that wouldn't have come if you had been with somebody. Traveling alone gives you a reason to be intentional about getting to know the locals and the fellow travelers. And you may find that you become more open than you are when you're surrounded by familiar faces. Traveling solo, it allows you to meet more people and spend more time with others, should you choose, than traveling with a partner. When you bring someone else, it's more likely that you'll just talk and hang out with that other person and not meet anyone new. If you travel on your own, you're much more likely to learn a foreign language faster. You have no choice but to speak the language or at least give it your best shot. Solo travel puts you in a better position to socialize with the local population in their language. Now, the con is traveling alone can be especially intimidating if you tend to be shy or rely on others to help warm you up when meeting new people. At some point, you may miss your friends and family. Making friends abroad is one of the best things about traveling, but traveling solo long enough and you'll start to wish you had members of your crew around for the special moments. Some destinations are better suited for social exploration, and while others are solo adventures can be more rewarding. There'll always be times when you wish there was someone with you, and there'll be some times that you wish there wasn't. When traveling with a buddy, you need to be at least willing to listen to their suggestions, even if you have no interest in what he wants to see or do. Now, as a solo traveler, you may have to do a little more legwork to plan your trip, but all the decisions that you make are your own. It's all you. And while it's nice to have the back and forth camaraderie and help of a friend, it can also be maddening. We've all had those conversations with our traveling partners. What do you want to eat tonight? I'm not sure. You? Not too picky, really? What about burgers? Not really feeling burgers. What about tacos? I don't know. I don't really want tacos tonight. How about we just cook dehydrated meals? I really don't feel like cooking. And on it goes like that. If you're traveling long term with someone else, you're sure to have some of these kind of conversations, at least a few times a week. And when you're traveling solo, those often infuriating debates, well, they don't exist. You just eat what you feel like eating. that night and you do what you feel like doing the next day. Now, with two people, you essentially have to do half the work. Brainstorming sessions open up doors to things you didn't know about or places you never heard of before. Together, you can find the best deals, scope out great restaurant reviews, pick each other's brains, and you can also get away with packing less between the two of you, which is great. And something maybe I should have started with, another big one, is the budget. Now, a pro of traveling by yourself is, as a solo traveler, you can find great deals, especially if you're patient and flexible, and take advantage of time-sensitive deals because your departure is flexible. It may be easier to fly standby too and recap and reap benefits that you wouldn't be able to, credit benefits on your credit card and flying points and stuff like that. There's so many things about the budget that I need to cover. Also, cheap people is a con of a budget. If you're let's say you're on a budget and the other person isn't really on a budget, that's going to cause some conflict. I've been on both ends of that coin where somebody wanted to do something very extravagant or whatever, and I couldn't afford it. It wasn't in my budget. So it strained the relationship temporarily because we were on different our money was different. The deals that you can receive, sometimes you need to be able to just say yes or no, click a button or whatever. Immediately there's a clock ticking on a deal. And the time it takes to text your buddy or call them or whatever and coordinate with them, a deal could go by that could make a difference of hundreds to thousands of dollars on a trip. I've seen where a person was able to get a $1,600 international flight for $300, and it was because they were traveling alone. They could just go, yes, I agree, and move forward with it. Whereas the time that it would have taken to come to agreement with someone, they would have never been able to do that. And I'm sure you may have experienced that, or a lot of people have done that. They'll do standby. Sometimes you'll do standby, and they'll just give you outrageous gifts, more plane tickets, more miles on your card, lots of advantages budget-wise to going solo. But with that said, sometimes that can be offset with half of everything, half of a hotel room, half of transportation, whatever it may be. And if you're going to do touristy things, it may sound counterintuitive, but if you're going to do touristy things, it's probably better to do it with a friend because a lot of them, the prices are for two people, or there is a discount for two people. Like there's a trip I'm taking to Alaska later this year, and all of the best deals for flights to certain places, you want to go off to little islands and different things for different stuff, and you take these float planes, and the best float plane prices are when you're a couple, when you're with someone, two people. When you're one person, they give you a hard time. They'll have you sitting there, or they'll be like, no, you can't fly on this day. And they squeeze you in with some other people at their convenience, which may not be at your convenience. So budget can control how far you go, what you enjoy, what you do. And if you're doing it with another person, it can affect the relationship. The money, it'll come down to money a lot of times. A lot of times the person, when you're discussing what you want to do that night or whatever, that person may not be saying it to you, but the other person, or maybe you're that person, you're counting dollars in making your decision. So they may even want to go where you're talking about going, but they're going to talk about it Yeah, I don't really want to go there. I don't really like that. And it might be something they really want to do, but they can't afford it. So, or you can't afford it. Another part of solo travel is connecting with people. Now, as a solo traveler, one of the big advantages as far as connecting with people is you'll likely, one, be more open to meeting more people, because solo travel is going to open doors to meeting people that you normally wouldn't have noticed, and you'll be visiting places that you wouldn't have been on a shared itinerary with someone else. For your safety, it even requires you to, you want to interact with people, gauge the room, gauge the situation, gauge the person, whereas you are a little more carefree with your safety when you're with someone. And because of that, you don't have as much impetus to interact with others and find out something about them. So there's pluses and minuses to the connecting thing. Maybe you want to connect with a long lost friend, and the idea of the trip is you want to take this journey to spend time and interact with that person. So if that's your goal, that's good. But if your goal is to interact with the people, traveling solo literally forces you to interact. It forces you to. Everything is on you. Your safety, your comfort, everything. Gathering information, everything comes down to your ability to interact. And in most cases, you'll be forced to, especially on an overland journey. When traveling with a buddy, you need to be at least willing to listen to his suggestions, even if you have no interest in what he wants to see or do. So you can look at that one way or another, whether or not that's a pro or a con. As a solo traveler, you have to do a little more legwork to plan your trips, but all the decisions are yours. So to me, that's a huge, huge advantage. If you're going to travel with somebody, you really need to know them. And this is why. And I don't mean like, meet up somewhere for a couple of days. I mean a real overland trip. You really need to know who you are dealing with. And one reason is because let's say you go to Europe and you're on a 6-month overland trip across Europe or Africa or Australia, wherever you want to say. You need to know that person, not just for safety and knowing, but that person may become homesick and spoil your whole trip. And as a solo traveler, that can be a pro or a con for you. Maybe you don't want to take the chance of someone becoming homesick, but as a solo traveler, you're almost inevitably at some point or multiple times during a long journey to feel homesick. I feel so homesick all the time. I'll be enjoying myself, but I'll see a sunrise, or I'll be eating a particular meal, or I'll have a particular experience that occurs, and my first thought is, oh man, I wish my wife was here. Some things I wish my wife and my kid was here. Different things. You're going to reminisce within your mind, and it's eventually going to happen that you're going to feel homesick. So homesickness can be a pro and con depending upon how you look at it. Whether it's just you as a solo traveler, you're going to have it. Having someone with you may help you not to have homesickness. But you need to know who your partner is very well, because you don't want that person to be the person that brings up homesickness. They may want to end the journey, or their demeanor just changes, and they're no longer a fun person to be around. So that's something to seriously think about. And I think by this stage in your life whether or not you're a person who is susceptible to being homesick. and being able to handle it. Because I think everybody, if you have people you love, you're going to be homesick. It's just whether you can handle it or not. It makes me think about if you watch that show Alone, it's a show that's on the History Channel, if you don't know what I'm talking about, and they put them somewhere remote, and the last person there gets $500,000, and if you stay for 100 days, if you win and stay for 100 days, you get $1 million. And they'll have like maybe 12 contestants. And in like the first couple of days, they'll lose like 4 or 5 of these people. And it'll mostly be, not for the first 3 or 4 weeks. They'll lose a lot of these people real fast. And they're mostly talking about being homesick. Almost everybody who there's some talk about being homesick. They can't go on. They can't finish the competition because they're by themselves. They're remote somewhere. So that's a very real thing. I'm deep into memories. So this is another thing about solo travel. There's pros and cons to gaining memories, life-changing memories, special memories, bucket list memories. A partner can be the person you needed to be able to do this bucket list thing. They may, depending upon what you plan on doing, you may absolutely need another human being to help you physically or with their knowledge or whatever to be able to carry this out. But on the other side of things, a lot of times your making memories is compromised by having someone with you because you got to take them into considerations. One of the biggest benefits of solo travel is that you make a whole host of friends from around the world. You're able to hook up on social media with different people and do all kinds of crazy things. But when that person is actually your partner traveling with you, it can limit your memories. Or, like I said, like let's say you were going to do something where you were going to, at certain stops, do some strenuous hike or something that requires 2 people. So you have to really look at what kind of memories am I trying to gain from this particular overland trip. Another reason why you really need to know who your partner is. Your idea of bucket list memories may be too extravagant for them, or scary or whatever. So you really need to know that. Social media being such a big deal these days and people loving to document everything that they do, having another person, if your main interest is not really having memories but to document memories, having another person with you is there's no comparison. There's so many times I just wish somebody could hold a camera for me for something awesome that I wanted to take a pic of. So you lose out on collecting a lot of memories as far as documenting them sometimes. And there's no way to overcome that sometimes. You can take selfies so you can capture yourself at that beautiful sunrise or that, perfect meal you whipped up by the river and share it with friends and family on your social media when you get home. But in the moment itself, you've got no one that can physically share the experience with you. So if it's important to you to share the actual experience in real time with someone, you got to have somebody with you, or at least rendezvous with somebody. But we're talking about solo travel versus not. The next thing I have is, I kind of want to draw this into a conclusion. Like pretty much every travel situation, there are pros and, there's going to be cons, but all things considered, I feel the best way to find out what your travel style is to get your butt up, get out, and start taking some journeys. Start taking some trips. Take one solo. Take one with somebody. If you think you found a travel partner, take like maybe extended weekend trips several times. And like what I mean like that is like a Thursday through Sunday or 4 days. Go on some short 4-day or week-long trips with this person. Not just one, not just two, at least three or four, to get a good idea of this person and who they are and what they're about. No matter what, if you're an experienced traveler, it may be best to start with a few shorter trips to give yourself a chance to adjust and just to see how it goes. I feel like traveling solo is a great way to see our beautiful country and foreign lands in an intimate and an exciting way. And no matter why you travel, there is sure to be something new to gain from every trip. So, like I said again, my thing is for you guys to get out there. That's what this podcast is all about. Is hopefully you'll hear something, whether it's some information on how to take the trip or where to go, or hearing other people's experiences to reinforce the idea that you can take that trip. So above all, whether you're going to be a solo traveler or you're going to travel with a partner, I'm saying you need to get started. You need to start taking some trips. And I know y'all are going to get tired of me saying it, and I'm going to keep on but hitting you upside the head. We can talk about gear. We can talk about navigation. We can talk about vehicles and all types of stuff. But at the end of the day, it don't mean nothing if you don't start getting out there and doing something. All the things that we covered, they don't mean nothing if you don't actually go out and have these experiences, attempt to have these experiences. It means nothing. It means nothing. I want to remind you guys again, I mentioned it in the beginning, but I want to remind you again that we'll be taking a brief hiatus for the next 2 weeks. And when I say hiatus, I'll be putting stuff out, but it won't be the formal podcast. I'll be going to Utah to meet up with some friends for my Waypoint Overland Southwest Rendezvous that I have every year. It's the 4th year that I'm having it, and I'm really looking forward to that. So we're headed to Utah, and then we're all going to, as a caravan, go down to Flagstaff, Arizona for Overland Expo West, where I'll be giving you complete coverage of the event. You know, as usual, I'll be interviewing the who's of the event. I'll be checking out the what's of manufacturing, what's the hottest, what's the latest, what's the greatest. And then we'll be covering the actual event itself. You know, I'll keep you informed of what's going on with the people, what's going on in the camp, on the campgrounds, the parties, everything. We're going to cover everything. So you need to stay tuned because there'll definitely be more. Also, our next episode is going to be on Saturday, May 28th. So if you just listen to the podcast, because I know a lot of you just listen to it as a recording. So the next couple of weeks, I don't know if they'll be podcast friendly for, somebody in their vehicle listening to it or what. But so with that, our next official podcast format will be Saturday, May 28th. So stay tuned for that. As far as the Southwest Rendezvous, somebody already asked me about this, so I'll tell you. I go on my trips. I put out, a little bit of stuff on Instagram, but I don't really give you full coverage of these trips. And someone was asking me about the rendezvous that I have every year. and I was letting them know that it's invitation only, and they were like, well, you could still, document it and let us see it on your YouTube channel. So tentatively, I have plans to do some interviews with my friends, do like some cooking, and document the trails and where we are. Like, for instance, there's during our trip, there's going to be a total lunar eclipse. And where I have planned for us to be is one of the what they call dark sky areas in America, where there's almost no light pollution. So we're going to enjoy that first night, enjoying a total eclipse. So that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. And again, if you're not interested in any of that, our next episode, it'll be Saturday, May 28th. So stay tuned for that. Well, that wraps up another episode of the podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And with that, I want everybody to stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.